The calm before the storm. 5 years had passed since Tola smashed the blue hourglass in the Victoria Island penthouse. In the streets of Lagos, 5 years is a lifetime. Tola had rebuilt himself. He wasn't a millionaire, but he was Lagos rich. He had a thriving design agency, a solid car, and most importantly, he had his warmth. He also had Nneka. Nneka was the sun to his shadow. She was a firebrand lawyer from Anambra who had met Tola while he was still working 3 jobs to pay off Bisi's medical debts. She didn't care about his past. She cared about the man who worked until his fingers bled to keep his sister alive. They were 3 weeks away from their wedding at a beach resort in Ibeju, Lekki. The invitations were out. The asoebi was distributed. The world was bright. But Lagos is a beast that never forgets a slight. And Chief Fuad, the Architect of Destinies, was not a man. He was a debt collector for the dark. It began on a Monday, the day of the week Lagosians fear most. Tola was at a construction site in Lekki Phase 1 with his best friend and business partner, Segun. They were scouting a new office space. Segun was the loud one, the one who kept Tola laughing when the cold of the past tried to creep back in. "Omo, this office is fire," Segun shouted, leaning against a concrete pillar. "From downfall to director, we've moved, Tola." Suddenly, the air in the half-finished building turned static. The sound of the nearby Atlantic Ocean died. A scent filled the room, not the smell of cement and dust, but the heavy, oppressive smell of wood and old graves. "Segun, move!" Tola screamed, his skin crawling with a familiar, icy dread. A massive steel reinforcement cage, weighing 3 tons and secured by 4 heavy-duty chains, didn't just fall. It accelerated toward the ground. The chains didn't snap. They melted like wax. Tola lunged for Segun, but it was like running through molasses. He watched in slow motion as Segun looked up, his eyes reflecting a man in a white agbada standing on the scaffolding above. Crunch. The silence that followed was deafening. Tola crawled toward the wreckage, his hands shaking. But as he reached for his friend, he saw something that made him vomit. Segun wasn't just dead. The shadow that should have been cast by the rubble was gone. The ground beneath the wreckage was blank. A voice drifted from the shadows of the concrete pillars. "The interest is paid, Tola. Now we discuss the principal." The second strike, the death of love. Tola went into a frenzy. He tried to hide Nneka. He told her they had to leave Nigeria, to go to London, Accra, anywhere. But you cannot run from a man who owns the air you breathe. The second confrontation happened at the final wedding dress fitting. Nneka was standing in front of a 3-way mirror, a vision in white lace and silk. Tola stood behind her, his hands on her shoulders, trying to feel her warmth. "Tola, you're shaking," she whispered, turning in his arms. "Whatever is happening, we face it together. You're not that scared boy on the bus anymore." "I can't lose you, Nneka. He's coming for the things I love." "Then let him come," she said fiercely. "I am a daughter of the soil. No spirit can..." She stopped. The mirrors in the room began to frost over. The bridal shop attendants froze in place, their eyes turning a milky white. The front door of the shop didn't open, but suddenly, he was there. Chief Fuad walked through the frozen shop, his white agbada untouched by the Lagos humidity. He carried a new hourglass. This one was empty, waiting. "You have a beautiful bride, Tola," Fuad said, his voice a rhythmic hum. "It's a pity. To build a destiny as grand as yours, the foundations must be soaked in the blood of the innocent. That is the law of the city of excellence." "Take me," Tola roared, charging at Fuad. "Take my life. Leave her." Fuad simply raised a hand, and Tola was slammed against the wall by an invisible force. He could only watch, pinned and helpless, as Fuad walked up to Nneka. He placed a cold grey finger on her forehead. "Nneka of the East," Fuad whispered. "Your light is too bright. It hurts my eyes." Nneka didn't scream. She looked at Tola one last time, a single tear freezing on her cheek. Then her body went limp. But she didn't fall. She dissolved. Her very essence seemed to be sucked into the floor, and in its place, the empty hourglass in Fuad's hand filled with a brilliant, pulsing red sand. "One more, Tola," Fuad smiled, his teeth like shards of glass. "The sister, the one you did it all for. Midnight, the bridge. Don't be late. If you don't show, I'll take every soul in our hospital ward just to find her." Tola was a broken man, but a broken man is the most dangerous thing in Lagos. He didn't go to the police. He went to Obalende under the bridge to find Baba V. He found the old blind vendor sitting in a circle of salt and spent shell casings. "He took Nneka," Tola croaked. "He's going for Bisi." Baba V sighed, the sound of dry leaves. "You fought him with glass last time, boy. This time, you must fight him with the city." Fuad is the architect, but he did not build Lagos. Lagos built itself on the backs of millions who refused to die. You need the anchor of the ancestors. Baba V handed Tola a rusted iron spike, heavy and cold. "This is a nail from the original railway track that birthed this city. It has felt the sweat of 1,000,000 hustlers. To save the girl, you must bind the architect to the earth. You must make him feel the heat he so despises." Midnight. The Third Mainland Bridge was shrouded in a fog so thick you couldn't see the water of the lagoon below. The streetlights flickered and died one by one as Tola's car screeched to a halt at the center of the bridge. Bisi was there. She was standing on the very edge of the railing, her nursing uniform fluttering in the wind. She was asleep, walking in a dream controlled by Fuad. Fuad stood 10 feet away, floating an inch above the asphalt. Around him, the shadows of Segun and Nneka swirled like trapped birds in a cage of dark energy. "The trade is simple, Tola," Fuad declared, his voice echoing like thunder. "Your sister's soul completes the set. With it, I will become the king of this city. No more trades, only taxes. Every soul in Lagos will owe me their shadow. Tola stepped out of the car. He wasn't wearing a suit. He was wearing his old, worn-out shoes and a sweat-stained shirt from his days of poverty. He held the iron spike behind his back. "You think you own this city because you sit in a penthouse?" Tola shouted, walking toward the architect. "You don't know Lagos. Lagos isn't about the money. It's about the struggle. It's about the woman selling roasted corn in the rain. It's about the bus conductor shouting at 5 a.m. You are just a parasite." Fuad laughed, and the bridge began to shake. "I am the architect. I build the towers you dream of. And we are the ones who dig the holes," Tola screamed. He lunged. Fuad blasted him with a wave of absolute zero cold. Tola's skin turned blue instantly. His lungs felt like they were filling with ice. But he didn't stop. He used the memory of Nneka's touch, the fire of her love, to keep his heart beating. He reached Fuad and, instead of punching him, he tackled him, slamming both of them onto the hot asphalt of the bridge. "Now!" Tola yelled. He drove the rusted iron spike through the hem of Fuad's white agbada and deep into the concrete of the bridge. The effect was instantaneous. The spike acted as a lightning rod for the collective energy of Lagos. All the heat, the noise, the frustration, and the hustle of 20 million people flowed through that iron nail. Fuad shrieked. His white agbada began to burn. The cold he projected was evaporated by the sheer, humid heat of the city's soul. The red sand in his hourglass turned back into light and exploded, flying back into the atmosphere. "You cannot bind me," Fuad roared, his form flickering like a dying candle. "The city binds you," Tola cried, his hands blistering as he held the spike down. "Feel the traffic. Feel the heat. Feel the life you try to steal." The spirits of Segun and Nneka appeared for a brief second, not as shadows, but as pillars of golden light. They smiled at Tola, and with a final, collective push, they dragged the architect down. Not into the water, but into the bridge itself. The concrete rippled like water, swallowing Chief Fuad. His screams were drowned out by the sudden, deafening roar of 1,000 damfo horns that seemed to come from the air itself. The resolution, the watchman. When the sun rose over the lagoon, the bridge was quiet. Bisi was lying on the asphalt, breathing deeply, alive and safe. The iron spike was gone, melted into the road. Tola stood at the railing. He was warm, he was sweating, but he was alone. He never found Nneka's body. She, like Segun, had become part of the city's legend. Tola didn't go back to his design agency. He sold it all. Now, if you are ever stuck in traffic on the Third Mainland Bridge at midnight, and you feel a sudden, inexplicable chill, look to the side of the road. You will see a man in a simple shirt walking between the cars. He carries a thermos of hot tea and a heavy iron wrench. He isn't a ghost. He's the watchman. He's looking for the scent of oud wood. He's making sure that in the city of excellence, no one else has to trade their shadow for a dream. Because Tola knows the truth. The only thing more powerful than the architect's greed is a Lagosian's will to survive.
Welcome to the fire, where every spark holds a story. Listen closely and remember to share the light with the world.